Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about budgeting being the key to success for your business. So let's talk about what is a budget all about. A budget is a document businesses use to track income and expenses in a detailed enough way to make operational decisions. It's the direct work in an organization, and it really does help create financial stability. It's a tool for informed decision making. Budgeting is particularly important for small business owners who often operate on a shoestring budget. So being even a little bit off on cost projections or earnings can have a devastating effect on a small operation. And that's why oftentimes when I'm working with clients, I recommend that they create a budget. A carefully constructed budget allows a business to continually track where they are financially. This allows for strategic long-term planning for everything from current operating costs to potential expansion. Knowing where the budget stands opens up the ability to hire new staffers, invest in a new product lines, and sets earning goals for the organization with your corporate financial objectives. And it really does help you understand your organizational goals, estimate your income for the period covered by the budget. You can reference your historic information, identify expenses, and determine your budget surplus or deficit. So let's talk about great tools to use to create a budget. So when you're sitting down and thinking about that vision, putting those numbers down, sometimes clients, when they're meeting, I'm a little overwhelming, especially if your business is starting out, because you're just not quite sure exactly what numbers to populate. I always suggest starting with something like Google Docs or an Excel spreadsheet, because you have the ability to modify your numbers. You can create a draft and then adjust your numbers accordingly. So it gives you that flexibility. Some accounting softwares, you can actually plug this number into a budget worksheet. So then I work with folks that use QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online, and you can actually then populate these numbers into that worksheet so that you can actually see that actual to budget comparison. And we'll look at some of those reports in a second. But like I said, you can set up just a general worksheet. You could think about your revenue streams, and really it is your best estimate of what you think your business is going to do. And I often tell clients, when you populate that number onto your spreadsheet, make sure your reasoning for that is very logical. Where do you think that number is going to come from? And how did you come up with that calculation? So on this example we're looking at, not only do you see the projection worksheet, but if you look down below on the left-hand corner, you'll see another tab that says assumptions. I use this all the time with clients and suggest they use it too. That assumption spreadsheet then is sort of like a notepad. So if I'm populating something into a revenue line item, I can put how I came up with that calculation on my assumption sheet. So say you're going to sell 10 of your product at $100 for January, and then you say 15 for February, 20. So you can actually put those notes on your assumption sheet. It's a great way for you to go back and remember how you came up with that calculation. And especially if you're going to present your projections or your budget to investors or funders, you can recall back how you came up with that calculation. But it really does make you think through your numbers and the logic behind it. And the same goes with any of your expense accounts too. You can jot down how you came up with that number on your assumption sheet. And it's great because you can have it all embedded here on this one worksheet. So often, I have clients, we do a whole assumption sheet, and it does make it easier to remember how you came up with your calculations. So then once you plug in all your numbers and it totals for you, you can see where your bottom line number is. Then, like I said, if everything works out okay, then you can take these numbers and populate them into your accounting software. So with QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, you can generate reports that actually will show you your actual operating results compared to those budget numbers that you inputted into that worksheet. So you can just pull up this report and all that information is right in front of you. It's a beautiful tool, and you can see where you are over or under budget. So right away, when you're looking at that over under budget column, you are automatically looking at those numbers, investigating and thinking about how am I going to improve operations, or are you growing really fast, and how do you control that growth to what you're spending? So that column becomes very important for you as far as making your business decisions or being strategic. If you don't have this information, a report like this on your software, that's okay. You have that Excel spreadsheet. So you can have that ready when you're looking at your actual numbers for the month, compare it to what your Excel spreadsheet said, and then kind of figure out. You can either export those numbers onto that spreadsheet or just do a quick manual calculation to see where your variances are. But regardless, you're going to have your actual numbers are going to be there in front of you, and you're going to have that vision, that guideline. And then you're going to compare those numbers, and then you're going to take that difference, and that's how you're going to drive those business decisions and strategy. But it really does make you look in really deeply at your numbers when you're budgeting. And then when you're comparing those actuals, it helps you, keep control, be strategic in any of your decisions. And then you could see this is some of the expense side as far as year-to-date numbers compared to budget. And if you would like to set up a one-on-one session, this is my contact information. My name is Susie Dills, and I'm one of the business advisors at the Small Business Development Center at Lorain County Community College, and you can see my email. And I also provide that template, that worksheet with formulas already embedded if you wanted to use something like that.